Welcome back to Trojan TV. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Grace.
In this episode, we will be taking an in-depth look at teen depression and suicide.
Before we get into that, we'll be looking at a video on all the tips and tricks of track hurdles by Alexis and Olivia. Let's get started.
A lot of people picked up right where they left off last year, which is amazing to come into your season that way.
Girls' hurdles are different than every other event in track and field because they involve more than just running. There's running, jumping, flying, and sometimes even falling. This is Hannah Abner's third year doing hurdles, and she is thriving. Abner runs the 55-meter hurdles in track and field this year. She can run 55 meters while jumping over hurdles in less than 10 seconds.
I think starting out they can be a little tricky, and especially I was always really scared of hitting them or falling, but then once you really get into it, hurdles have become such a big part of my spring. Just everybody that does it, everybody because you understand what everybody's doing, and just when you're in the race, everything just kind of shuts off except for the hurdles. If you go at the hurdle being scared that you're going to hit it or you're going to fall or you're going to embarrass yourself, then you either are going to do that or you just slow way down.
Madison Garrett is in 7th grade and flying through the 200-meter hurdles race in track and field this year. Her fastest time is under 40 seconds.
I really enjoy them, and now that I know how to do these hurdles, it's not really that hard anymore. The teammates on your hurdle team are amazing. They're so encouraging because as a fellow hurdler, you know how difficult it is and how hard it is. It's really fun.
Coach Abner is the head hurdles coach this year and offers a lot to the team.
I started running in elementary school. In general, I've been coaching probably about 10 years. I've coached some different things for the kids, volleyball, soccer, track. So forward momentum is always the key to save time and energy. It's really awesome when kids get it and you see the light bulb go on, or you see them ask me, watch my form, and then they do something really exciting and they're successful. And it doesn't have to be super fast or you got first place. It's each person improving and working on their own ability, and it's really fun to watch them grow throughout the season.
This has been Olivia and Alexis reporting for Trojan TV.
This episode of Trojan TV was brought to you by Traverse City Products Incorporated, your one-stop shop for structural and decorative metal needs.
June 14th is our last day of school. It is a half day. 8th grade parents are welcome to line the hallways to wish their students a farewell. Tonight is the 8th grade dance. If you haven't already bought your tickets, it will be $10 at the door. It is semi-formal and there will be lots of snacks, games, and a bunch of fun. Can't wait to see you there. Students who are unable to pick up their yearbooks, you can see Mrs. Mackey in room 513 to claim yours during resource or before school only. Make sure to have your ID. Lola Rhymers, a track runner here at East, has been working hard to achieve her goals of being a stronger athlete. Abby and Kinsey caught up with her to see what the track life is all about.
When you're running, all of my thoughts kind of disappear, and it's a chance for me to get away from all the schoolwork and everything else. Running is fun because it's a really good form of exercise. I just try to think about how hard I've worked for this and how strong I am, and even if I'm kind of nervous or she seems really, really good and I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot do this, I just try to think of what I am good at.
She works really hard, and she puts in the time and the amount of effort that it takes to be at a certain level where she wants to be competing.
To improve on my running skills, I always try my hardest when I'm at practice, and running is also a really mental sport. You have to be mentally tough, so when I'm running, I try to have an I can do it mindset instead of an oh my gosh, this is really hard and I'm tired.
This story was brought to you by the NMC Children's Choir. Auditions held each year in June and September.
Thanks, guys. As the school year is winding down, let's get prepared for the last day, so stay tuned for these announcements. Students, be prepared to turn in your computers to Tech Central Monday for 6th graders, Tuesday for 7th graders, and the last turn-in date is Wednesday for the 8th graders. 8th graders, you're getting new Chromebooks next year, but you can only receive a new one if all of your fines are paid. Be sure to pay your fines ASAP if necessary. Locker cleanout is Monday for 6th graders, Tuesday for 7th grade, and Wednesday for 8th graders. Be sure to still keep your binders and textbooks, but get rid of all garbage, wrappers, and other unnecessary things. Suicide is a fast-growing epidemic that affects many people, especially teens. In this Trojan TV special report, Avery and Ashley took a closer look at how suicide is impacting the Grand Traverse community.
Suicide is the third leading cause of death for people ages 15 to 24, and over 38,000 Americans die from suicide every year. Kingsley School District recently lost their third student to suicide in the last 8 months. The 3 recent deaths have affected the community and become so well known that even the Washington Post featured a story. We spoke to Kingsley's superintendent about how the suicides are affecting the community and asked other school and community stakeholders how they are dealing with the issue of teen depression and suicide.
You know, the death of any student is very tragic. To have 3 of them in an 8-month time period has just been devastating. The toll that it takes on the students and staff, you know, the culture, the morale. The kids are still hurting from things that happened, you know, almost a year ago.
Teens are exposed to many pressures in today's day and age, such as drugs, alcohol, and many other pressures. Social media is a huge factor in creating anxiety and depression. In several recent studies, teenage and young adult users who spend the most time on Instagram, Facebook, and other medias were shown to have a 13 to 66% higher rate of reported depression than those who spent the least time.
The pressure you guys face today is insane. These things are horrible. I wish I could smash every one of them. You know, when we see like the Lipsy app where you're inviting people to comment anonymously. I'm 43 years old and a superintendent. I don't want to hear anonymous comments about me. My skin's not that thick. And to think, my daughter's in 8th grade, she's 14. I would hate to think that people were anonymously commenting on her. You know, we're disconnected. I just think in the challenges, whether it's drugs, alcohol, social media, we can go on and on and on. Certainly I think everybody would agree that the pressures and the challenges that kids face today are unprecedented. And many of the adults, you know, since we didn't experience it, we don't necessarily know how best to deal with it either.
I think there's a lot more stressors out there for kids. I think kids really struggle with being kids at the middle school now. They're very much like young adults, and there's a lot of responsibility placed on you. And I think that process has really sped up the anxiety for kids, that you don't get to learn and grow at your own pace.
As a collective group, if a student is hurting and another student notices that if it's continuous and not improving, that student needs to go to a trusted adult, someone that they have confidence in, teacher, police officer, their parents, a counselor, and they need to let them know, hey, I'm noticing this with so-and-so, and I think that they need a little bit of help.
It's okay to get help. It's okay to talk to people. You know, we don't really talk about mental health that much. I'm not afraid to say I've been in counseling for 4 years, two stints of 2 different years. You know, with my job, there's a lot going on, and it's okay to want to go talk to somebody. But people need to understand that just like we take care of our bodies by going to the gym and exercising, or we take care of a car, you know, we get an oil change. You know, it's okay to kind of get a mental health tune-up and go talk to people. Life is stressful. It does get better, and sometimes we need a little help along the way.
The biggest thing is building a sense of community within the school, and then trying to meet the needs of all our kids. So we talk about something, educating the whole child. So even though we talk about educating you in math and science, social studies, English, give you a couple electives, it's much more about providing a culture that helps you grow socially and emotionally. That's a really big thing, and we have to put more resources into that, because you don't always get it at home. You're spending a lot of time with us each day, and then you go home and you're doing homework, and at this time in your lives, you don't spend a lot of time talking to your parents.
That individual that is hurting is loved more than they could ever know. This is 2 things I'm asking. I'm asking for the individual who's hurting to go to somebody, and I'm asking for those who see someone hurting to be there for them, or to go to someone and let them know that they're hurting. I'm stealing this saying from someone else, but I think it's very profound. It says that suicide is not a guarantee things won't get worse, but it is a promise that they won't get better. We need to be there for each other. Absolutely need to be there for each other. So.
Only 30% of teens with depression are actually being treated. If you or someone you know is dealing with depression and not getting help, let them know it's okay to seek guidance. You can call National Lifeline Network for suicide prevention at 1-800-SUICIDE or 1-800-784-2433. It could save a life.
This has been Avery and Ashley reporting for Trojan TV.
This episode of Trojan TV was brought to you by Shorts of Bel Air, your destination restaurant in the heart of Antrim County.
Thanks for watching this episode of Trojan TV.
You can follow all of our social media sites at EastGMC. Be sure to check out our website, The Link, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Trojan TV East, for more awesome stories.
Have a great weekend, Trojans. Bye.
The numbers of teen depression and suicide rates have been increasing rapidly over time. Over 38,000 Americans die by suicide every year. Suicide is the third leading cause of death for people ages 15 to 24. There are ways to prevent suicide, but first you need to know what to look for. First, is that person losing interest in things they used to enjoy, like maybe a sport, club, or hobby? Second, does that person look sad or upset? Do they look as if there's no hope? And last, have you seen them become more tired or they're not getting enough sleep? Maybe they have immense weight gain or loss. If someone you know or love is showing any of these symptoms, please ask what's going on. It's one of the best things you can do. If they do talk about having depression or suicidal thoughts, be a listening ear and a friend. Tell them to seek help because they're not alone. Whether it's you or someone you know, call the National Lifeline Network for suicide prevention at 1-800-SUICIDE or 1-800-784-2433. It could save a life.
This segment you just watched was brought to you by Hectic Escape Challenge. A little hectic, a lot of fun.